for Malik Thiaw, the German defender who is really appreciated by the club. Newcastle will also sign a goalkeeper in July with Trafford from Burnley as favourite. Hey guys, welcome back on the channel. Fabrizio Romano here as always to keep you posted on the transfer market, and today guys we touch on a done deal for Brighton, really important for Newcastle, but also something on Alexander Isak, Anthony Gordon, Nico Jackson, Riccardo Calafiori, Dewsbury Hall. Let's jump into it together. And so guys, here we are back on the channel, and let me tell you that we have a here we go for Brighton, and really important here we go also for Newcastle, because Yankuba Minte, the winger who leaves Newcastle and joins Brighton, can be considered a new player of the new manager, Fabian Hürzeler. And so is a here we go, because the deal is in place between Brighton and Newcastle, £30 million plus add-ons. The total package is going to be around £33 million. Minte also said yes to Brighton after Everton trying, after Olympique Lyon, best proposal on the table for the whole week, but Minte rejected Olympique Lyon. Minte wanted to play in Premier League, and now he's gonna be Brighton player. Medical today, 5-year contract, and so Yankuba Minte to Brighton is here we go. Really important for Newcastle for financial fair play, because we're talking about a player who was on loan at Feyenoord, never had the chance to wear the shirt of Newcastle on the pitch, and now he's already leaving the club and joining Brighton. For Newcastle, we already said yesterday, a lot of activity. They had contacts with Milan because Newcastle really like Malik Thiaw. They tried to include Kieran Trippier in a discussion, but not advancing at all on that one. Let's see if Newcastle in the next weeks will return for Malik Thiaw, the German defender who is really appreciated by the club. Newcastle will also sign a goalkeeper in July with Trafford from Burnley as favourite. Then Newcastle starting having some conversations for Anthony Gordon. Is the reality. What we can say as of now is that the only way to reactivate that option is in case Newcastle decide to drop the price in a significant way, because Liverpool really like the player, but Liverpool are not going to pay what Newcastle wanted for Anthony Gordon. So at the moment, the feeling is that this story is unlikely during the next 24 hours, the deadline of the financial fair play situation for English clubs. So it's really difficult to make it happen, and the only way would be a crazy proposal from Liverpool. But at the moment, Liverpool are not considering to pay that money, and so if Newcastle don't accept lower money, is not going to happen, and the feeling is that it might be really complicated. Alexander Isak and Chelsea, nothing happening, so everything is absolutely impossible. We already mentioned in the recent days how difficult it was to open again that situation. We know that Chelsea can appreciate the player, he's one of the most talented strikers around, but Newcastle always wanted to keep him. I'm told that especially Eddie Howe over the weekend was really clear with the Newcastle board and owners. He didn't want Alexander Isak to leave the club, so strong message on that one. And also important to say that for Newcastle the only case was with a Premier League record fee, so more than 120 million pounds invested by Chelsea last summer to sign Caicedo. Chelsea were never going to pay that money. The only way was a swap deal, but it's not gonna happen. So this is the situation on Alexander Isak as of today's situation. Really quiet now around the Swedish striker. We also have many questions from the fans asking about the situation of Nico Jackson, if there is a chance Chelsea can include Nico Jackson in a deal for Alexander Isak or in any other deal. Let me say that the only information I'm getting on both sides is, first of all, for Chelsea, Nico Jackson is a really important player, is a player they trust, they believe that his value is going to be crazy in the future, they believe that he's going to go very well next season under Enzo Maresca after a very positive first season under Mauricio Pochettino. So Chelsea absolutely trust Nico Jackson and believe he's going to be a key player next season. So absolutely all quiet on Nico Jackson, and also on Nico Jackson's side, player side, Nico is super happy at Chelsea. So everything is absolutely quiet around Nicolas Jackson, who is considered a really important player for Chelsea project. So let's see what's going to happen around all these players, but also let's see what happens in the next hours. While I'm recording this video, the conversations between Chelsea and Leicester City for Kiernan Dewsbury Hall are still ongoing, still talking, still trying to find a way. We know Chelsea with the call were able to make the deal collapse between Brighton and Leicester City. It was a swap deal. deal, Moder to Leicester City, and Dewsbury Hall to Brighton. Moder already did his medical for Leicester City, then the deal collapsed because Dewsbury Hall decided not to join Brighton and to wait for Chelsea. Now he's also delaying his holidays because he wants to understand what happens in the next hours with Chelsea. The player already gave the green light to Chelsea move. Dewsbury Hall wants Chelsea. Let me say that he's always going to be respectful with Leicester, so he's not like desperate or asking to leave the club. But if Leicester decide to sell the player to Chelsea, Dewsbury Hall will be open to making the move to Chelsea. He gave his green light. Personal terms are not a problem. Also, the relationship between the agent of the player at Chelsea is very good. So Dewsbury Hall is waiting. Chelsea and Leicester are negotiating. Chelsea want to include the players in the deal. Let's see if they can find the right structure on deal. But for sure, Dewsbury Hall remains one of the names discussed over the weekend for Chelsea, and so let's see if they will add one more player in that position. On Dewsbury Hall, let me clarify one thing. This is not a signing wanted by Enzo Maresca, in the sense that Enzo Maresca goes to the board, goes to the owners, goes to the directors and says, please sign that player. This is not the case. This idea starts from the recruitment team. So Chelsea recruitment team indicated Dewsbury Hall as a very good opportunity on the market, very talented player they've been monitoring for months. And then, speaking also to Enzo Maresca in a second phase of the story, they also got the green light from Maresca, who obviously knows the player so well. They were together at Leicester, and so in that moment Maresca gave his approval to the deal, but was not starting from Enzo Maresca. So everything is always starting from the recruitment team, and this is the policy, this is the strategy at Chelsea. So let's see what happens also there, but let's see what happens also with a talented defender, Riccardo Calafiori, because the Euros are now over for Italy. Now Bologna will focus on the situation of Riccardo Calafiori. Bologna in May, in June, beginning of June, were hoping for Calafiori to stay at the club, to be able to keep the player. Calafiori around February, March, April always gave his preference to Juventus, and his preference remains Juventus. Calafiori would love to play for Juve, Calafiori would love to play for Thiago Motta, the manager who was at Bologna last season, but as we always mention, the relationship between Juve and Bologna is complicated because of the Thiago Motta situation. And so Juventus are still there, but Bologna are making life difficult for Juve, despite the agreement between Juventus and the player. So what happens now? Bologna are now waiting, especially now after the Euros over for Italy, for proposals for Riccardo Calafiori. Bologna expect Premier League clubs to jump into the race. We said about the interest of Arsenal. Arsenal are keeping close eye to the situation. It's not a negotiation as of now, but let's see how Arsenal will move. And then Chelsea looking for a left-footed, talented defender. Let's see if it's going to be a centre-back. Let's see if it's going to be a left-back. But for sure, Chelsea want to add one more player with that kind of skill. Left-footed and talented, and Calafiori is one of the best around, so Calafiori has been scouted by Chelsea this year and could be one of the players to watch. And then, let's see if some other club will decide to enter the race. We had rumors about Real Madrid, but Real Madrid are focused on Lenny Joro as centre-back. He remains the player they want, and he wants to go to Real Madrid. For other clubs, let's see, for example, Liverpool director Richard Hughes, when he was at Bournemouth, he used to follow Riccardo Calafiori when he was playing for Roma, for Basel, so he's a player they know so well. Let's see if they will return strong on a defender, but at the moment, on Liverpool, still nothing concrete. Interest from Arsenal and Chelsea keeping close eye to the situation. And so guys, let me know your thoughts on all these stories, from Isak to Gordon, for Yankuba Minte, Nico Jackson and Chelsea, Dewsbury Hall. Which club should go for Riccardo Calafiori? Let me know here in comments, like this video, turn on the notification bell, subscribe to the channel. See you soon here.